The sun rose over Venuvana, casting golden rays onto the forest floor. Birds chirped softly in the morning air. The Buddha sat under a Bodhi tree, his calm presence drawing disciples near. Silence enveloped them as he began. Ananda, seated closest to the Buddha, asked, "Master, how do we overcome desires that cause us suffering?" The Buddha paused, his gaze resting on the rippling stream nearby. "Ananda, desires are like shadows cast by the mind. Shadows grow longer as the sun sets," the Buddha said, "but the light that creates them remains unchanged. Light is the truth of existence. Infinite and unwavering," he continued, "but shadows obscure it when we chase illusions." Ananda leaned forward, seeking deeper understanding. "Master, how do we free ourselves from chasing illusions and live fully?" The Buddha reached for a leaf resting on the ground. "Consider this leaf, Ananda. It neither clings to the wind nor resists falling. The leaf moves as the wind carries it, yet remains true to its nature. Unburdened by expectations," the Buddha explained. Ananda observed the leaf, his thoughts reflecting on its simplicity. "Master, is acceptance the key to contentment?" The Buddha smiled gently. "Acceptance is not resignation but awareness. It is seeing the nature of life without clinging." The disciples listened intently, their hearts touched by the wisdom in his words. The Buddha picked up a ripe mango from the grove and held it in his hand. "Observe this fruit," he said. "Suffering is the storm that tests the strength of the roots. Without the storm, the roots cannot grow deep enough to sustain the tree during times of drought," the Buddha said. "Suffering strengthens us by teaching resilience and compassion, but only if we face it with open hearts," he continued. Sujata nodded, her tears reflecting newfound understanding. "Master, how do we find peace amid suffering?" The Buddha placed his hand on her shoulder. "Peace is not found by escaping suffering, but by embracing it with awareness. To embrace suffering, one must see it not as punishment but as a path to deeper truth," the Buddha explained. The disciples sat in silence, their minds turning inward. The Buddha gestured toward the flowing stream once more. "Observe the stream," he said. "It flows freely, unbound by obstacles. Yet it shapes the rocks it encounters. The stream accepts the resistance it faces, transforming it over time without losing its essence," the Buddha added. Ananda spoke again. "Master, what is the essence we must preserve as we face life's challenges?" The Buddha closed his eyes for a moment before responding. "The essence of life is compassion, the boundless love that connects all beings. Compassion is the heart of peace, for it dissolves barriers and nurtures understanding," the Buddha said with conviction. "Without compassion, we are isolated, trapped in illusions that deepen our suffering," the Buddha warned gently. The disciples felt the weight of his words, their hearts touched by the universal truth he shared. Sujata asked softly, "Master, how do we cultivate compassion when anger and fear cloud our minds?" The Buddha lifted a small stone and dropped it into the stream. The stone disturbs the water, yet it cannot stop the flow. Anger and fear disturb the mind temporarily, but with awareness, they pass, leaving clarity and wisdom behind, the Buddha explained. To cultivate compassion, one must observe their emotions without judgment, letting them pass like clouds in the sky, he continued. The disciples reflected on his teachings, their hearts opening to the possibility of transformation. Ananda asked again, "Master, how do we carry this awareness into the chaos of daily life?" The Buddha pointed to a bird perched on a branch. The bird sings amid noise, undistracted by the clamor around it. The song of the bird arises from its inner stillness, which cannot be shaken by external conditions, the Buddha said. To live with awareness, one must find stillness within, even when the world outside is turbulent, he continued. The disciples nodded, their minds embracing the wisdom of his words. The Buddha spoke once more, his voice resonant. The path to peace lies in understanding the interconnectedness of all beings and acting with love and wisdom, he said. Let your actions arise from compassion, your thoughts guided by awareness, and your presence rooted in stillness, the Buddha concluded. Silence filled the forest as the disciples absorbed his teachings. The stream flowed steadily, its rhythm unchanging. The Buddha rose, his gaze serene. Life is the stream, ever flowing, shaping us as we shape it. Let us walk together. Another day, another village filled with restless chatter and hurried footsteps echoed through its narrow streets. The Buddha observed silently. Merchants argued over prices, their voices sharp and piercing, drowning out the whispers of softer conversations. Among the crowd was Ananda, curious and attentive, staying close to the Buddha's side. A troubled man approached the Buddha, his forehead furrowed deeply, evidence of sleepless nights and relentless worries. Master, he said, his voice trembling, my thoughts are chaos. Peace evades me no matter how hard I try. The Buddha gestured toward a nearby tree, its leaves swaying gently in the breeze. Thoughts are like these leaves, he said. They move with the winds of desire and fear. Stillness lies beyond them. The troubled man looked puzzled, his eyes darting between the Buddha and the restless leaves above him. How can I silence these winds within my mind? He asked, desperation seeping through his words. The Buddha knelt down and placed a hand on the earth, his touch deliberate and calm. Begin here, he said, with the present moment. Feel the earth beneath you. It does not chase the wind. The Buddha nodded, his gaze shifting to Udaya as he asked, and if I light them with a flame, what will occur? Udaya answered with equal caution, they will burn swiftly, consumed by fire. The Buddha placed the leaf back with care, his voice steady as he continued. A wave of calm seemed to ripple through his body, softening his strained features. Nearby, a child dropped a clay pot, the shattering sound piercing the air and drawing the crowd's attention. The Buddha spoke again, his voice unwavering. Like this pot, our thoughts often break apart under pressure. Yet within silence, there is the opportunity to rebuild. The man nodded slowly, his breathing steadied by the grounding wisdom shared. Master, Ananda interjected, is silence simply the absence of noise? The Buddha smiled, his eyes reflecting the warmth of the setting sun. Silence is not absence, but presence, the fullness of awareness unclouded by distraction. He motioned toward a stream nearby, its water trickling serenely despite the rocks impeding its path. Do you hear its song? It flows not by silencing obstacles, but by moving harmoniously with them. Ananda approached the stream, kneeling to observe its movement. He closed his eyes, listening to the gentle rhythm of water against stone. Master, he said after a moment, this silence feels alive. How do we carry it in the noise of life? The Buddha sat by the stream, allowing the water's melody to guide his response. We carry it as the stream does, not separate from the world, but flowing through it with clarity and presence. The troubled man, now seated beside Ananda, spoke softly. The chaos in my thoughts feels heavy, like boulders blocking the stream's flow. How do I release them? The Buddha picked up a small pebble and placed it into the man's palm. Begin with one, he said, and let its weight teach you. Release it, not through force, but through understanding. The man closed his fingers around the pebble, his grip tightening before he gently released it into the stream. He watched as it sank and the water adjusted effortlessly, continuing its journey uninterrupted. Master, he said, his voice steadier now, this release feels small. How do I address greater obstacles? The Buddha pointed to the horizon where the sun dipped below the mountains. Even the sun surrenders its place in the sky, trusting the night to bring renewal. Release comes with trust. As darkness settled over the village, the crowd quieted, drawn by the calming presence of the Buddha and his disciples. A merchant, who had been arguing earlier, now approached with curiosity, his voice subdued. The brothers observed the grove, their hearts reflecting on the lessons embedded within the natural world. Blessed One, we shall commit ourselves to serving others together, Ashva said, his voice steady and sincere. In its clarity, we see truth and find paths previously obscured by noise. He stood and walked to the edge of the stream, his reflection shimmering beneath the moonlight. Problems are like ripples on water. Silence helps us see the source and the nature of their disturbance. The merchant bowed his head, his thoughts visibly wrestling with newfound understanding. Ananda, still seated, asked, Master, is there ever a time when silence is unnecessary? The Buddha's gaze fell on the stars, their light infinite yet silent. Even in the vastness of the universe, silence speaks. It is never unnecessary, for it is the foundation of wisdom. The crowd, once bustling with movement and chatter, now sat unified in stillness, each person drawn to the tranquility emanating from the Buddha. A young woman approached cautiously, her expression marked by hesitance and uncertainty. Master, she began, her voice barely audible, my family argues constantly. Silence feels impossible in such noise. What should I do? The Buddha turned to her, his presence grounding and compassionate. Silence begins not around you but within you. It is a refuge, not a condition. He motioned for her to sit, and she joined the circle of disciples, her breathing deepening as she listened. Arguments are storms that pass. Silence is the steady earth that remains. Anchor yourself there, not in the storm. Ananda spoke again, his curiosity piqued. Master, does silence require solitude, or can it exist among others? The Buddha placed a hand on Ananda's shoulder, his touch firm yet kind. Silence thrives not in separation, but in understanding. To be silent among others is to hold space for peace. The troubled man, now visibly calmer, looked around at the quiet crowd and asked, Master, how does one practice silence daily? It feels elusive amid life's demands. The Buddha picked up a fallen leaf, its surface delicate and intricate, and handed it to the man. This leaf is part of the tree, yet it rests alone. Practice silence as this leaf does. Connected yet present, the young woman, encouraged by the collective stillness, spoke once more. Master, will silence heal the wounds created by words? The Buddha nodded, his expression serene. Words can wound, but silence can soothe. In its embrace, healing begins with understanding and forgiveness. As the moonlight bathed the village, the Buddha stood, addressing the crowd one last time. Silence is not the absence of life but the essence of it. Through it, we discover clarity, peace, and connection. The Buddha gazed at the potter kindly and replied, Humility enhances self-worth, like clay shaped into a vessel of purpose. A young monk asked the Buddha, Master, how can we ensure our actions remain humble while achieving success? The Buddha pointed to the surrounding trees, their branches heavy with fruits but bent gracefully toward the earth. The troubled man, now smiling faintly, turned to the young woman and said, I see now that silence is not distant but near, within us all. The Buddha, walking silently toward the horizon, left behind a village transformed by the power of his wisdom and presence. Another day, another forest welcomed the Buddha and his disciples with whispers of leaves and songs of distant birds. The Buddha paused. A gentle wind carried the scent of blooming flowers, mixing with the earthy aroma of the rich soil below. Ananda stood nearby, watching the serene surroundings with quiet awe. His curiosity piqued. A wandering monk emerged from the shadows of the trees, his face marked by lines of solitude and introspection. Master, the monk said, his voice steady yet yearning. I have meditated for years. Yet I feel isolated from the world around me. The Buddha took a step closer, his presence grounding and compassionate, and picked up a fallen leaf from the forest floor. This leaf, he said, is part of the tree's story. As the tree is part of the earth's tale, none stand alone. The monk looked at the leaf in the Buddha's hand, its delicate veins telling stories of growth, nourishment, and eventual release. Master, he asked, how do I embrace this interconnectedness when solitude feels so consuming? The Buddha placed the leaf into the monk's palm, his voice calm and steady. Begin by seeing the world within you. The leaf mirrors the patterns of your thoughts and the flow of your spirit. Ananda approached, his eyes filled with inquiry, and asked, Master, if everything is connected, how do we preserve our individuality? The Buddha smiled, motioning toward the forest where diverse trees grew in harmony, each distinct yet thriving together. Individuality is a thread in the vast tapestry. It enhances the whole, yet it never exists apart from the weave. A nearby stream murmured softly, its water glinting in the dappled sunlight, drawing the attention of the disciples gathered. The Buddha knelt by the stream, letting its gentle flow caress his fingertips. This stream flows freely, yet it never separates from the stones guiding its course. Unity shapes its freedom. The wandering monk sat beside the Buddha, his gaze fixed on the flowing water, seeking answers within its undulating rhythm. Master, he said, his voice quieter now, I see the connections, but fear blinds me from embracing them fully. What must I do? The Buddha lifted a pebble from the stream, placing it into the monk's palm alongside the leaf. Hold them together, he said, and feel the weight not as burdens, but as reminders of life's intricate balance. Ananda watched the monk's hands, now holding both pebble and leaf, his thoughts reflecting on the teachings imparted. Master, Ananda asked, how do we share this balance with others in a world so consumed by separation? The Buddha pointed to the rising sun, its light touching both the forest and the stream, illuminating their union. Through understanding, we reflect the sun's light, helping others see that shadows exist only as part of the greater whole. As the sunlight deepened, a bird fluttered from a tree branch above, its song rising into the tranquil morning air. The Buddha spoke again, his voice resonating with the melody around him. Even the bird's song is part of this balance, each note connecting hearts and ears in ways unseen yet deeply felt. The monk, feeling the leaf and pebble in his hand, asked, Master, how can I express this understanding to those who fear unity as a loss of self? The Buddha looked toward the forest's edge, where diverse creatures coexisted, each playing its unique role. Unity celebrates diversity, he said, allowing each to shine without losing its essence. To express this, live it, the disciples began to move closer, their curiosity drawing them into the unfolding wisdom shared beneath the canopy of trees. The Buddha addressed them collectively, his words echoing with the forest's vitality. We are leaves, streams, and birds. Each represents a piece of the whole, never solitary, always interconnected. Ananda asked, Master, is interconnectedness found only in nature, or does it extend to human relationships and actions as well? The Buddha pointed to the footprints left by their journey, marking the path they had walked together. Even these footprints tell stories of unity. Every step we take shapes the path for others to follow. The monk stood, his posture steadier, his heart lifted by the teachings imparted. Master, he said, I see now that connection is not something to seek but something to recognize within all existence. The Buddha nodded, his expression serene and encouraging. As the birds sang and the stream flowed in harmony, the disciples followed the monk toward the forest's edge, their own hearts lighter and thoughts enriched by the Buddha's teachings. Ananda lingered behind, asking one final question. Master, what happens when we forget this unity and act in ways that harm the whole? The Buddha's gaze softened as he replied, harm is born from forgetfulness. To remember is to heal. In healing, unity restores itself. As the sun climbed higher, the Buddha led his disciples onward, leaving the forest behind but carrying its teachings within. The monk walked beside Ananda, his hands no longer holding the leaf or pebble, yet their presence resonated deeply within him. Each step they took echoed the truth of interconnectedness, reminding them of the silent bonds that unite all beings. The forest grew distant, yet its wisdom remained close, a guide for the disciples as they ventured into the vast world ahead. The Buddha spoke softly, his words carrying both strength and gentleness. We walk not alone, for each step joins the dance of existence. In this rhythm, we find purpose and peace. Quote. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.